Happy Sunday, Choral Methodists. Um, Today I'd like to present a couple of approaches that could serve as models for your choral warm-up sequencing, beginning with the breath activities and moving through the end of the sequence that we've been discussing in class. So let's assume now that I have already led stretching and relaxation, maybe doing tension release, and that we have already discussed alignment and balance and getting the body ready to support the breathing. So I'm going to begin just with some breath activities. So here we go. Now join me in just making some circular motions with your arms, and we're going to feel that support system that we just set up in our posture. Both feet are equally balanced, and we're flexible, and we're free in the upper body. And roll those shoulders just a little bit more to kind of remind us of that. And to join me, we're going to take an imaginary airstream into our mouth, and then we're going to project it out with a S. So ready? Inhale. Good, and we can feel that little bit of a muscular burn in the abdominal area when we're exhaling on S. Let's try with the other arm and raise it. Take a breath. And exhale. Good. We get rid of all that air. We're going to feel that our shoulders are down and our chest is still slightly lifted position as if we're taking the breath in, so that we don't feel collapse in the abdomen and in the chest area. So this time let's use both arms and we'll do the same thing. And as we exhale on S, we're going to feel like we grow about 1/8 of an inch all the way to the end of the exercise. So let's try that. Arms down, taking a breath. And good. Then we feel taller, we're still springy and rooted to the floor. Great. Now, if you'll join me in going, oh, like that. Just take a good breath through that same ah that we used, and we'll go, oh, like you're yawning for the doctor. Okay, take a breath. Good. Now I'd like you to imitate that feeling that we had on the tss in exhalation. So that much breath pressure, we're going to project our ah clear across the room. So a little bit more amplitude, louder dynamic. Take that again. Breathe in. Good. And just kind of shake out your arms. Get rid of any tension that that movement caused. And now on that same breath stream, let's go low to high. And we'll go, oh. Ready? Together, take a breath. Oh. Good. Hopefully we feel like we have our voice hooked up to our breath stream. And now just repeat after me. Your own range, and we're going to sing. Oh. Ready? Breathe in. Oh. So we're doing the same thing with our voice singing that we were just doing on the airstream. In addition, we're going to take a breath with the arm going down, and then as we sing, we're going to do the opposite motion with our arm. So let's put the arm up here, taking in a breath, and then we'll sing that 5-3-1 scale. Ready? Take a breath. Again. And let's add again to that sensation, in addition to moving the arm up as we descend in pitch, we're going to feel like we grow just about 1/8 of an inch in height as well as we descend. So we're right where we were. breathe. Great. Let's kind of shake out our bodies, get rid of that sensation. And now just say yo ho ha ha ho together. Yo ho ha ha ho. And we're going to do this with pitch. Ready and go. Yo ho ha ha ho. 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 We're going to try to get all the way up to that. Again, go. Good. Now back off the singing and let's just put the hand with the fingers pointing in. Can you see that? Right under my solar plexus here. And we're going to feel like a trampoline and say, yo ho ha ha ho. We're going to try to make the chest be absolutely still, and we're going to articulate right here. Say yo ho ha ha ho, and together. Yo ho ha ha ho. Will you feel that same thing now as we do the? We're going to sing yo ho ha ha ho and go. Yo ho ha ha ho. Good. And as we feel kind of rooted in the ground, that's going to coincide with the top note, with the fifth. So we're going to actually feel like we sink into the ground, but we remain buoyant in our posture. Yo ho ha ha ho. Yo ho ha ha ho. Yo ho ha ha ho. Great. Now let's take our arms and move this way. Great. Do the other one. Now we're going to use both sides of our body alternating. So we'll breathe out and in this direction. So we'll start out here with our hand, with your right hands out, and we'll go yo, right where we left off. And we'll use the energy that we just had with that staccato articulation in legato, and we'll feel that line. So we're going to start out here and breathe in and sing yo. Ready? Breathe. Yo. Other side. Yo. Other side. Yo. Great. You loosen up the neck a little bit in the head and the shoulders. Feel that those suspension systems in our legs, and we feel really symmetrical and tall and not tense. So if you'll say deva deva dava dava deva deva dava dava de, so we'll sing. We'll go deva deva dava dava deva deva dava dava de. Ready and go. Deva deva dava dava deva deva dava dava de. Deva deva dava dava deva deva dava dava de. Deva deva dava dava deva deva dava dava de. Deva deva dava dava deva deva dava dava de. Deva deva dava dava deva deva dava dava de. And we're finished. So what we did is we went from applying breath pressure to applying that sense of kind of muscular burn and breath pressure directly to phonation, with the image of projecting the sound beyond our place in the room. So it's helpful to identify, maybe whether it's blowing out a candle or blowing out a sheet of paper off a desk that's maybe 15 feet away from us, regardless of the dynamic. So if we want to experience piano, we can still project towards that 15 to 20 feet away, and the breath stream will be engaged, more directly and more consistently all the way through. Then we go into kind of that yawning sensation where the resonators open up. And the way I did it this last time is that I asked people to imitate what I yo ho ha ha ho, yo sound that everybody got was hopefully a really open sort of a vowel shape in the mouth. And we put the air through that, and we translated that into staccato. Same vowels, same syllable sounds that we used when we chanted it. Reminders to use the body and various imagery that hopefully I had set up in the initial relaxation, tension phase, and relaxation again, and then also the structural support system with the legs, the skeleton, and making little reminders, short reminders about that to the class. And then applying that energy, that breath energy, short staccatos, to a more lyric vocal gesture, adding the kinesthetics to assist. And I didn't talk about it, but I might have said, let's feel resistance as we move our arms and sing. So if I'd have said, yo, you'll get some people to go, yo. I would have to say, if I saw that, now remember to feel resistance if there's maybe somebody pushing gently against your arm as you sing. So, yo, you're going to get more sound from the choir as the concentration of breath stream, that sense of resistance is going to just cause them, without even thinking about it, to project more sound into the room. And then the articulation issue, whether it's staccato, marcato, contrasted with legato, more rapid, maybe 16th note, oi, 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 or I used a variation of that at the end to get people to think about agility and using kind of rapid rhythmic figures and articulating them with their voice and keeping energy and keeping the breath on the folds, meaning keeping the vocal folds vibrating all the way through that. And that's really all you have to do. Just those steps. I took maybe even a little bit more time than we would need to have you do in class. But what I'd like you to do is view this and the next one that I'm going to put on. And then if you have some specific questions, shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to answer your questions about Tuesday, February 22nd, because this is what we're going to be doing. This is what I'm going to be asking you to do. These short 3 or 4 minute, moving from the third category, which is breath for singing, developing breath for singing, into phonation, applying that breath to some sort of sound, and then enhancing that sound with opening up our spaces, and then getting more agile, and so that the singers are able to sing in contrasted either articulations, dynamics, or kinds of arpeggiated figures, if that's what you want to use. So I'm going to do a second example now. Again, assuming that we have done the first 2 steps, we're going to begin with breath. Join me in taking a good deep breath through nostrils, and then we'll exhale in the same way. Take a breath. Okay, this time I'd like you to, as if you're sipping through a straw, that air, and we're going to trace that line where the air goes from the bottom of our mouths and the back of the throat through the trachea down to the top of the lungs. And then we're going to trace it back out as it goes out. So take a breath. Good. So shake out your hands. That's the image that we want to feel and see in our inner imagination, that's how the air goes in and goes out. We're going to feel the top of the lungs fill first, and then like an expanding air toy or a water mattress, we're going to feel the lower parts of the lungs kind of go into place. So let's try that without a straw. Take in a good breath. And exhale. Try that again. This time with that imagery, we're going to feel the air going down the trachea. We're going to feel the tops of the lungs inhale first, fill with air, and then the rest of the lung follows. Ready? Go. And then exhale. Good. Do what I do with that same kind of a breath. Oh, together. Oh, good. Let's stretch an imaginary huge giant turkey wishbone that's very flexible when we breathe in, and then it takes the same amount of resistance to come back, and we're going to do what we just did. So we're going to take a breath on an O, and then we're going to go oh like that, but with resistance here. So take that breath. Push back. Oh! One more time. And we don't want that transition from inhalation to sound to stop anything. So it's just going to be seamless. We're going to go oh together and oh. Good. Kind of shake that out, get us back into a good posture, flexible, shoulders down. Head feels kind of lifted up from the center of the body. And now we're going to take in a breath after we pick a flower. We're going to feel that aroma go up into our sinus cavities, into our nasal cavities. Fill our whole head with beautiful aroma. It's a rose. So here's our rose. Take a breath. This time we're going to open our mouth, take in a lot of that scent, both through the nostrils and the mouth through an ah. And feel that expanded space. Now we're going to throw that rose away, and we're going to experience the same sort of space, the expansion of the mouth and the back of the throat, but we're going to try to maintain that as we go. Oh, so that space stays open. Take a breath. Oh. Great. So using that same inhalation, the same expansion through a singing voice, we're going to, on the vowel ah, sing ah, just sliding up to the third and back down to the root. Ready and sing. And we're done. So if you choose to only go through 3 elements, 3 categories, this time I did establishing the voice, and I took a little, or establishing the breath, and I took a little bit more time with that, and tying that to kind of a yawn sigh or a single vowel space. Then I went to resonation with the flower image to expand the size of our resonating chambers, nose, nasal passages, sinuses, mouth, back of the throat, which is the pharynx. But the key element is that we have to ask our folks to maintain that sense of space as they make sound. Otherwise, what we'll get is, and you can see my whole countenance relax. So there has to be a reminder that, okay, folks, we have to maintain that announcer voice space all the way through to the end of the, whatever it is, yawn sigh, intervallic exercise, or whatever. Then we take that space, that enhanced space where the soft palate is up probably, we haven't talked about it, but it is, if they maintain that space, the soft palate has to stay up in order for that sound to happen. And then we sing some sort of an intervallic exercise. It could be, some variation variation on the triad, on a major triad or a major third. Until the group is more comfortable, I wouldn't be doing wacky intervals. Certainly you could do a minor triad, a minor chord, alternate major and minor, but at first, with a basic singing and basic vocalism in an elementary choir or a more elementary choir, I want to keep things really familiar. And then that's it. So we get them to sing with that openness, ah, or oh, ah, oh, or e, ah, if you choose to use multiple vowels. Always remind them to feel that same amount of space. And then we've gone through resonation. I haven't gone to agility on this second activity because I took a little bit more time on the third and the fourth categories. So one of the two examples that I just gave you is what I'd like us to be doing in class on Tuesday. And so if you watch those, obviously I'm somewhat limited visually for my audience, for my choir, as I'm watching myself, by the fact that the upright piano is right in front of me. So the lower parts of my arms are not being seen. That's why you might have to narrate a little bit. I tried to say, arms down, and then I showed that they went up or whatever, because we're going to be in front of this upright piano so that you have easy reference. And even if my, or yours in the next case, if your posture is compromised somewhat to get down to the piano to play it, that's fine, as long as it goes right back into position. So if I sing yo, ya, or whatever I'm doing, I don't want to show this. So there's an extra, physical coordination there that you want to be able to keep track of those fifths up and down and so on, while you're able to kind of move your body up back into the singing position. So hopefully these examples will help. And if not, just send me some questions via email, and I'll try to get to them in the next couple of days before class. But I would just, get into a practice room, even if you're looking at the wall over an upright, and start trying to lead some of these things from in front of a lower topped upright piano, because that's what I will have either in our room with us or we'll go into the band room for class. Okay? So thanks, and I'll see you on Tuesday.